seems like
Yes.
you had these really, I'm sure we all grew up with these restrictive sort of gender roles, right? People put boys and girls in a box. So boys can do this, men can do this. It seems like you're saying that's where it started. And then as you were becoming a teenager, it sort of shifted to your body. So it became like a physical, because I always wonder where that starts. Like, is it the stereotype or is it like an internal, having gender dysphoria as an internal sensation? So you're saying it was a bit of both?
The things that I know now, I would say that gender dysphoria is not a thing on itself. I think it's the result of underlying issues. And it's interesting because talking about it, reading about it, I can really compare or like look back at my life and see how I basically can cross all the boxes. So gender dysphoria can come from internalized homophobia in high school, being bullied for assumingly being a lesbian. Well, when I was 17, I fell in love with a guy. And so that was all really confusing because, you know, I wanted to believe the bullies, like, well, maybe I am a lesbian, but then why am I in love with a guy? And I like bisexuality wasn't really a thing that was discussed. You're either straight or you're gay. But then also just homophobia around, it's the small things that people say, the small things that my family would say. There's also, when it comes to the body, it can also be body dysmorphia, where you just, and listen, I'm not an expert, so people should look up their sources. But body dysmorphia is really tricky because, you know, if you're not happy with the way that your body looks, you feel like you're overweight or either too skinny or whatever. I think it can also just be that people feel ugly, or it can create this thought of having to mutilate yourself in some way, having to harm yourself or having to change yourself. Eating disorders can also be a way to take control, or like having the feeling that you take over control over something in your life. So I did struggle with that as well, eating disorder. There's also neurodivergency. A lot of young and I mostly talk about young girls and young women because, you know, that's the experience that I have. But we see a lot of neurodivergent girls. So the young the girls and the young women on the autism spectrum, almost all of the trans people have ADHD. And then other underlying issues, also really important, are the things like depression, anxiety, and personality disorders.